Alright, good evening and welcome to round 2 of the Automobilista Australia Super 2 series here from Albert Park. And tonight in the booth is, of course, myself, Lewis Wedding, and I'm once again joined by Brendan Ross. How's it going, mate?
Good, how are you, mate?
Not too bad. In fact, not bad.
Not too
As
bad.
not too bad. Good size. Well, we've ticked over qualifying. We've had a number of issues this evening, so it's good to finally get going underway. Some with the server, some with the mod, some with the track. Let's hope the racing, obviously, is makes up for that. And we are in the qualifying session, but drivers are waiting for the green lights to go out. So, to come on, I should say, and the red ones to go out. But just a little quick overview of what we're going to be obviously doing tonight. Obviously, Albert Park here in Melbourne, 5.3 kilometres, 16 turns, and obviously being over 3.1 kilometres means that it is a 2-race format, with race 2 being reverse grid and 12 laps, which is 63 kilometres. So that is that. Well, Rossi, you've done a few laps of the circuit. How do you find it?
Not quite like I remember from last year. It's an improvement with the track cuts that some of the admins put in behind the scenes, but I couldn't get a groove of the track, but it looks like some of the Super 2 guys out there have really found a couple of extra seconds.
Yeah, certainly it was very, very close in practice, where we had a couple guys, obviously, sort of the first 2 or 3 guys were really, really close, and then we had only really 3 or 4 tenths between the next group of guys, and from pretty much third all the way down to, I think it was 6th or 7th. Again, that was separated by less than a tenth of a second, so very, very close, which is pretty weird, being obviously the circuit's so big. As we see Whitmore on his outlap having a little off there, down there. I think that's turn, off the top of my head, I think that's turn 8. Turn 8 and 9. And now through the quick bit. Now, obviously, as you can see in the background, there are some change ad boards, and obviously as well, there has been some other changes made to the circuit. Obviously, in the past with this track, there's been issues with track cuts, and then being a little bit strict, especially in practice. In the race, it was found that, in the race it was found that it did relax a little bit, a lot like Adelaide, which is stock content that was raced last night in the Automobilista Australia Supercars Championship, where the first chicane there in particular was very, very easy to get cuts in practice and qualifying, and then in the race it was, you could go as hard as you want. But anyway, Whitmore about to start his lap. Why don't we ride on board? And Rossi, why don't you talk us through a lap of the Albert Park circuit?
Yeah, righto. So we come up to turn 1, which normally you want to get as much inside curb as you want. Yeah, now that we've got the track cut sorted, you can take pretty much the whole corner with 2 wheels. Then heading down into this tricky little staircase section. I don't know Albert Park too well, but he's coming up to the little S bend, I think it is.
Yeah, turn 3 and 4, yep.
It looks like he's got that fairly smooth. And then coming up to a quick fire fast section, I think you want to normally get full throttle through there. It looks like Wayne sort of tripped over himself there, but all is smooth so far. He's done a 39.7 to the first sector. And then coming into another fast section.
Oh, that's not ideal.
That's Rossi off-roading there. So it looks like he didn't get a track cut for that, so not a good turn in there, so I think it's not going to be a very competitive lap time.
I think he outbroke himself there. But anyway.
This is a nice fun section too. If you want to get as much inside curb as you can, set yourself up for the exit here, and then get as much exit you can without the track cut spawn on you. And then it's ideal at this track, you want to get all your exits set up perfectly for your straights because it's pretty much a stop-start, and then you got straights at the end. So you want to make sure you get these straights perfect to get your biggest top speed at the end of them. And then heading into our little hairpin here, can catch you out. You can get some wheel spin, and then he's got it here, and he's hit the wall.
Yeah, and he's gone into the pits, so not a very good lap there for Whitmore, and yeah, obviously finishing off by going into the pits with that half spin there.
He's doing the right thing though by at least going to set a time by going in the pits. So unless he goes to garage,
I don't think it'll give him a lap time. As we see Tilbrook to the front, but Lime Mitch, another one of the pace setters as well, coming out of the final corner now. In fact, it'll be very close between these two. It's close in practice, but I think Mitch is going to blitz it here. 56.8, so 0.3 of a second. And that's with this track not being as gripped up as what it was in practice either, Rossi.
No, so since we had to reset the track, now that it's light, they're definitely they're going to feel it. But it looks like Lime Mitch may have just set his best lap for the night, I think. So he's getting pretty used to it pretty quick.
Yep. Got Nether out there on a lap at the moment. Coming up to turn, I think, 13 down there.
It looks like Burko's within a tenth of the first sector too.
Yeah, Burko,
and he's given it up.
He must have picked up a track cut. I wasn't watching him. I'm still looking at Nether. He's had a bit of a light nightmare last couple of corners. But as long as he sets a lap time, it'll be good for him. Approaching the line, and it is going to be a 57.5, which third, not too bad. And with the way his last couple of corners went, I would have thought that lap time would have been a little bit further away from first place. I reckon he's going to be a bit disappointed with that, because if he hadn't have made those mistakes, he'd certainly have given, obviously, Tilbrook a run for his money for the front row. Perhaps even Lime Mitch a little bit of a scare as well.
Listening to Nether in the practice session, he said he was faster in the first and second sector over whoever finished first in the practice session. So if he can get this third sector right, he might be in for a shot tonight.
Yeah, well, Wayne, we saw, just cuts to him having a massive slide there, turn 14, and he's coming into the pit, so perhaps he was a lot, well down on lap time. And he's decided just to park it instead, so he may have picked up a track cut as well. Got Bolger out on the circuit, just started his lap. He's down at turn 3, bit of a lock-up for him, so not ideal, but still plenty of time to rectify it. But that little wobble there at turn 4 not going to help his cause. And he's overcommitted there for turn 5. I think one thing these guys are going to have to work out pretty quickly is turn 5 there, is you got to sort the entry right. If you don't get it right, you're not going to be able to carry that speed, you're not going to get the good exit, and you're going to just lose a massive chunk of time. And in fact, that sort of holds steady for really the entire circuit. You've got to think more about the exit with these massive straights than what you do with the mid-corner and entry.
And two, I've noticed, just me personally, the Albert Park circuit's it's not similar to any other supercar circuit. It's just the layout and just the way you race, it's very different compared to typical Australian tracks, so it is a little bit unusual to most people within the Australian motorsport scene, so you can understand people driving a little bit different.
Yeah, being a Grand Prix track, automatically makes it significantly larger than the majority of circuits on a supercar calendar. It's a fairly large Formula 1 circuit as well, lap times being in the 130 range. Well, they were in the 130 range, now they're in the mid and high 120s. And even Bolger coming into the pit, so perhaps he too must have picked up a track cut somewhere, and he's deciding, I'll just start from the back. So I've got 1 minute 30 left of qualifying, and we've got 3 guys that haven't set a time, because I do believe there's 10 drivers in the server, and yeah, so we're going to have a minute 20 of time to fill until until the session ends. Got the crowd going nuts, as you can hear, but means absolutely nothing, because the drivers are just sitting in their garages, so a bit disappointing. And, well, with that being done, Rossi, it might be an idea if you're admin just to tick it over to warm up so we can get this thing started.
As we are behind. Yeah, what's 1 minute 30 to the 20 minutes we lost?
And I see that, Zach, you might be a bit quiet. Rossi, I know you're a bit quiet at the moment. I've now adjusted my mic, and I think I'm very, very loud. But anyway, oh, no, that's not the. There we go. So we'll just once again bring up, obviously, just the track for this evening. Haven't got the points standings. Haven't sorted out the Google document spreadsheet for that. Been a bit busy and all busy mixed with laziness as well, and has led to obviously that not obviously being done. Lai Mitch would. He won both races, so Lai Mitch obviously in the lead of the championship. Burko would be second. After that, I honestly can't remember. But as you can see, it's an Albert Park circuit. Lots of long stretches of full throttle with some decent braking zones, but not really, really heavy ones. That said, with the nature of the track, obviously you want to be sort of trail braking a little bit, which in a supercar as well, you don't really want to do. You want to brake in a straight line, but turn, the first chicane and then turn 3 and turn 3 as well. You sort of want to trail brake. It's just habit. I think when you look at those corners, just to trail brake just a little bit, and that's where we've seen a number of drivers lock up. Same with turn number 6, and then also turn number 8 there as well, which is Clark. But the big one, especially with track cuts in obviously past supercar seasons, and obviously last year's Super 2 in quotation marks season, turn 11 and 12, they're very easy to get a cut on the inside and very, very easy to get one on the outside on the exit as well there, Rossi.
Yeah, the track was never lenient, but it's a lot more lenient tonight. I know I was trying to push for a few corners there to just see how far drivers could push, and it seems a lot better today.
Yeah, and then we have obviously Ascari after that one. That one's on this circuit with the way the braking zones are in a Formula car. It's actually one of my favourite corners. Just to obviously you can carry a bit of speed through there. You can take a little bit of the curve because it's nice and relatively flat, and you can trail brake into there. It's just really satisfying to get right. After that, that quicker right-hander, that can be in a car with downforce again. Another really fun car or fun corner to sort of drive through. And then I think everybody's least favourite corner on the track, that penultimate left-hand hairpin. Obviously, in this version of the track, it's very easy to get a track cut there now as well, unfortunately. That will be rectified before the AMSOZ Supercar championship round is held. Nether will be sorting that one out for us, so thank you for that, Steve. And then the final corner, and then the long run until the first chicane. Now, that obviously very, very important to get the final corner right for lap time. It's also very, very important to defend and to obviously your prospects into overtaking there as well, Rossi.
Yes, the turn 1's pretty much the prime overtaking corner I've found. So you definitely want to get the setup right from the last corner to get the top speed down the straight.
Yeah, that first chicane, obviously the big one, but you can also turn 3 is another one where you can pass as well, and I've found not so much here, or when driving a supercar, but certainly in driving Formula cars around here in the past, turn 3 you can really set the move up with sort of feints into the first chicane, or forcing your adversary to sort of defend in the middle of the track going into turn 1, and then you can get them on the switchback and get that good run for turn 3 as well. So prime passing opportunities, especially in a supercar too, down at turn 1 and at turn 3. Another slight chance there at Clark as well, but again, it's fairly short braking zone because you can carry a little bit of speed on the exit, and same with down there at Ascari as well. because he carries so much, a fair amount of speed through there, those are a little bit more difficult to pass. But either way, hopefully we see quite a number of those this evening. But we'll just watch a little bit more of the cars out on track at the moment, and just see how the guys are travelling.
Looks like Blake's doing some standing start practice.
Yeah, so some smart. And Cracker has made it into the server, so his game obviously has fixed itself, which is good to see. So that'll make 11 runners as Blake, I should say, gets his practice started with no smoke, surprisingly. And Ned's going to try to make a move on Wayne Whitmore in the Penrite Erebus car there. And, Whitmore, as we cut to him, has done a Felipe Massa at turn 1 and 2 there. In fact, we'll have a look at that on replay as well. So I'm guessing he's just gassed it up a little. Yeah, he's gassed it up a little bit too much as he was running wide. And another thing of note, or point of note, is that AstroTurf that we're zooming in on, that provides less grip than the racing surface and the curbs. It does act like an AstroTurf, the way that these guys have done the track, which is very, very realistic, which is good to see. So if you do get on that stuff, and you're obviously at the wrong angle and applying throttle like Whitmore was, you will have a hard time recovering that oversteer that you will get. So what you're going to want to do coming into and through turns 1 and 2 is obviously get that turn-in point right, carry a bit of curb, but then when you accelerate through turn 1 and 2, you want to be going as straight as possible if you have to use that AstroTurf there on the exit, because it will upset your run through turn 2. And if you have a little moment through turn 2, it will set a move up for someone behind you. Pretty quick smart. But Nether at the moment, 57.7. He was battling on that last lap as well, on that time lap that he set as well. So impressive times from him. I've got to say, over the last year that we've seen him race, he didn't race too much last year except for TCR. We started slowly, Rossi, but the more racing he's done here, he's really picked up his pace.
Yeah, he's got a little bit faster over the last couple of weeks.
He certainly has. Let's see, this lap, 2 minutes already, so he's had an off somewhere. It was a little screen stutter there. I wonder if someone has joined the server.
Wayne.
Yeah, so Wayne obviously dropped out to come back. And in fact, we'll watch Cracker to see how he struggles. Obviously, these are the first laps he's done. He's only just downloaded the track and got his mod sorted. So, in these 3 minutes, it looks like he's going to go back to the pits actually. He's just started slowing down. Yep. So, we won't be watching him, as I think that's Burko doing doughies in the pits. No, it's Lai Mitch going backwards in the pits. If he did that in real life, he'd be disqualified and heavily fined. And going out on a racetrack like that, he'd probably have his racing license banned. But this is Super 2. This is sim racing.
You can do what you want.
You can do what you want. I think, actually, I'm going to throw down a challenge to Lai Mitch if he watches this again. To win a race, finishing, going reverse.
Now, I believe you're the only one that's done that.
Not when I've won a race. I've done it like for a podium position, but I've not done it when I've won a race. And we're still getting that you're a bit quiet, so we'll try and play around with the sound settings. Would you mind? How is? Am I a little bit better, David? And Zach, if you're still watching. As looks like Lai Mitch is going to try and do what you and Scruff did quite often, is try and do laps of the track in reverse, and he's done a fair job so far, it has to be said. He's gotten through sector 1. Now this will be the big test down here at turn 6.
Yeah, it's going to want to slow it up.
Oh, he's made it. He's made it, not oversteered.
Now, I remember something being said last week or the round before, but we need to do a race in reverse.
Yeah, we might have to have an AMSOZ Olympics and one of the races in reverse. Doesn't matter what car, but just everybody's got to be in reverse. And I think his engine's starting to smoke because he'd be hitting the rev limiter, and it's going to go any minute now. So we'll stick with him. He's got 45 seconds until the session ends. I don't think he's going to complete a lap. Either his engine will expire or he won't make it to the start-finish line by the time the server.
And he's gone.
Disappointing. Disappointing, Mitch.
Could have done better.
Yeah, we're going to cut to somebody else now. Even though you've gone to the pits. As you see, Nether, he's doing a practice start here.
You got one end of the scale people mucking around, and then the other people actually doing what they need to be.
Super serious, and well, he got absolutely no. That's one of my starts, if I'm being perfectly honest. Absolute. Well, stuff it. It is my channel. Shit house. Absolute shit house. Just like mine was last night. I had everybody driving away from me off the start line, but that's what I get for not practicing a start. He's going to practice another one in the exit of turn 2. Got Wayne out there driving around. Time has expired. So it will. The session will tick over very, very shortly. I'll just try and make some adjustments to your sound, Rossi, to see if I can pick you up just a little bit louder.
Cool. So who was on pole? We've Line Mitch.
Yeah, Line Mitch got it in the end. Till about 0.3 of a second off, and then it was Nether 0.7 away. But there was times in practice that everybody was fairly close together.
So it'd be interesting to see how Burko goes, considering they were both the pace setters for last round.
Yeah, it wasn't HRT sort of 1-2. I believe in both races almost. I think it was an HRT 1-2 in the end. With Line Mitch taking the win with Burko second. Burko made a race of it in the first one, but in the reverse grid race he couldn't quite clear the field as quickly as Mitch. And Mitch sort of walked away in that one.
Are we going to apply a Brenton Foley award tonight too?
Well, we could do that. In fact, if I do remember, I'll create a graphic for that and bring that up in the broadcast, because I reckon we should. Whoever does the best job in a reverse grid race, or if they start at the back and come through the field, for sure. But anyway, the formation lap getting underway with Lime Mitch leading the way for the Holden Racing Team. And Rossi, well, why don't you lead us through the field?
Alright, so Lime Mitch, the defending race winner from Adelaide, winning both races. He starts on pole, so he's carried on his form from round 1, sorry. Lake Tilbrook, I believed he raced last night in the main Supercar series. And
he did in the Mercedes, yep.
So he looks fairly fast with the times he was setting in practice. So he's second. Nether Railing, he's getting faster, like we said, every race he competes in. He's in third. Termo, faster than anything, he's fourth. Steve Burko, he is second. Mike Coulston, hopefully not riding a camel again, in fifth, sixth. And then Wayne, he's starting at the back again, which he should be up the front, but see how he goes through climbing through the field again. Cracker, wonder how he'll go coming in late in 8th. Steve Bolger in 9th, and then Wayne Whitmore in 10th, and then Glenn Miles rounding at the grid in 11th.
Yeah, obviously a number of drivers not setting lap times, and then but that have done practice and qualifying, and then Cracker shows up with no practice in the warm-up, and the game's decided they all didn't set a lap time, so I'll just chuck them in random order, and Cracker ends up in front of them all.
Gee, I didn't even notice that.
So solid effort from in qualifying by Cracker. Well done.
Well done.
Well done. Driver of the day, Cracker qualifying. in the Brad Jones racing car. See, still got a couple corners to go. Now, I reckon tyre wear shouldn't be too much of an issue around this circuit. You might overheat the rear left a little bit if you're overdriving it a little bit, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue as the track is fairly long and the corners are fairly well spread out. So, unless you're massively overdriving it or if you've got a very, very oversteery setup, I don't think we should see too many issues due to tyres. And I'm just hearing that Turmo threw it in the fence at some point.
Turmo. I wouldn't be surprised.
That was in chat. Look, he has got a ding on the left side. So if you could just keep up with the start, I'm going to go back on the replay and see where he's done that. Because obviously chat is delayed in game.
Alright, so they're all still pulling into their grids. Now, going off last season, the inside was the best to get off of, and lucky for me, I was on the inside those 2 races. So watch out for Tilbrook.
Yeah, so did just see what Turmo did. That was on the exit of, I think, turn 6 there. He threw it into the fence. Now, I was going to say drivers were out of position. They were, but it sorted itself out. 1 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Away we go. And Lion Mitch absolutely gassed it at the start. Wheels spinning, going nowhere. Blake Tilbrook into the lead. And they're 4 wide there at the back. Wayne sending it up the inside. And he's dropped back now. So he's now behind Burko, who's moved. Well, he hasn't moved up a spot. He's just retaking his spot. Turmo holding position. And yeah, as you said, Lion Mitch having a look up the inside and getting the job done. So he sort of faked out Tilbrook there. Now he's coming under pressure from Netherelmian in 3rd.
So hopefully Tilbrook here can just stay with Lion Mitch and make a bit of a race of it. So it doesn't.
When we've got Burko and Wayne Spencer going side by side at turn 5, and that led to Burko running into the wall and then Spencer running back into him.
Oh no. So that sets the other 2 fastest people sort of going behind now.
Yeah, so very, very interesting start so far.
Nether's looking a little racy on the back of Tilbrook too.
Yeah, he looks a lot more confident at the start of this race. It looks like Whitmore off the track in the background there. There's the front view. A couple little battle packs there as Tilbrook is wide. That's going to allow Nether to get by, and being as wide as he was, that might even be a track cut as well. And Turmo may even have a look as well going into turn 13, 14.
Just outbroked himself there again too. He's just not happy with the car at the moment by the looks of it.
Yeah, it just hasn't settled well into the race. Obviously got a fantastic start, but since pretty much turn 3 onwards where he sort of outbroke himself a little bit, or even gave too much respect to Lion Mitch, he's just been a little bit frazzled all over the place, slides here and there, and then outbreaking himself. That said, it's a good last couple corners, and he's putting Nether under a bit of pressure, and he's going to have a look into turn 1. You got Burko also trying to make a move in the background on Steve Bolger, so Battle of the Steves at it again, and Bolger losing out, Burko making the place, and now got Turmo and Nether side by side with Wayne keeping a watchful eye in the background.
So Tilbrook must have overcome their Nether, obviously.
You got the move done in turn 1 as Nether holds on around the outside to Turmo. Turn 3, Turmo now coming under attack from Wayne.
And Lion Mitch has already pulled out a 3-second gap.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Mitch again for the rest of this one. It's going to be a very cracking battle, I reckon, for P2 in this one as Wayne gets it all wrong. He's done a Maldonado. That's what he did in 2012 there, and now he's going the wrong way. He doesn't want to go too far. He gets himself DQ'd, but he gets it around and safely, and he's going to drop to the back of... Well, he was going to drop to the back of the field, but Glenn Miles getting way out of it to the void. No, Miles will pass him, and Wayne will, with that mistake, drop to the back of the field, which is a bit of a shame.
So Nether's still harassing. Chamo's still harassing the back of Nether again.
Yes, it's close between those guys. Tilbrook looks like he's just edging away now.
Steve Burko's starting to bite in this battle.
Yeah, he's right there now. So cut to the chopper cam. Now, Nether did say, obviously, he wasn't very good or confident in that final sector, and that's where Tilbrook made up all that time. It looks like so far he's had a decent run in the final sector. It looks like he's even closed on Tilbrook in front, and he's been able to sort of, well, at least relieve some pressure from Turmo behind as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully these guys can have a pretty good long race battle and just throw a few punches as we go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close between these guys. As we saw in practice, it was very, very close between pretty much the top 5 or 6 cars. Even though there was a little bit of a gap, as we see Tilbrook locking up there into turn 3. But as I was saying, yeah, top 6 really, really close in practice, where obviously the first 3 separated by less than a tenth, and then the second group were a couple tenths back, but themselves also separated by less than a tenth of a second. So Mitch has got away 4 seconds. They won't catch him barring mistake, but this battle for second, it will go down to the wire. And who knows, maybe if they battle hard enough, you might see the likes of Bolger or a recovering. Oh, we probably won't see Wayne, he's too far back, but you may definitely see Bolger close up if they battle hard enough, as now that gets the run out of turn number 9, and they're going to go side by side. Now there is a rule in place for this corner. Whoever's ahead at
Tilbrook.
Tilbrook goes off into the boonies. He's done a Brendan Ross, and he's going to lose out massively there.
Go, son.
And the reason why that's a Brendan Ross in practice, I cut to him, and Brendan Ross was full opposite lock on the grass between turn 11 and 12 there.
And there was no lifting of the accelerator, so...
Well, that's just not your style, is it?
No. It's the FCR motto, mate.
Never lift.
Never lift.
So, you go
going
on.
back to Steve Bolger point, he's got the pace to catch up to these guys, so I expect him to close in the coming laps.
Yeah, he didn't look entirely comfortable in practice, but I think as the more laps he's done here, and he sees the lines as other drivers are doing, as Turmo uses too much curb and too much gas, and gets a little bit sideways, and then allows Burko through. Yeah, I think the more laps Burko does, the better he's going to be, and I think we're seeing that at the moment. He's starting to get a little bit more of a rhythm with this track, and in a supercar around this track, rhythm is vitally important.
Yeah, that's pretty much where Lime Rich is just pulling ahead. He's in that rhythm now, so...
In fact, around this track, I wouldn't exactly say rhythm. I think it's more flow, because it is a very flowing circuit, and you sort of got to be at ease with the way you drive. And I think, obviously, Burko in practice was having problems with braking. Around here, a lot of the lap time is by braking at the right, I guess, early enough, because a lot of drivers, they think you can brake a little bit later and carry more speed into the corner, where really you want to be thinking about the exit, which Burko's done this time. NetherRealm not so much, and they're going to go side. Well, they were thinking about going side by side at turn 11. Not the case, and Burko's going to now try and set up the move into turn number 13. He's got a decent exit. He is close enough to make a move, as now that sort of feigns a little move and moves back, and Burko's now going to send it up the inside, as is Turmo. And there might have been a little bit of contact, and Turmo, he's avoided the wall. Tilbrook's not too far away, and neither is Steve Bolger as well.
Yeah, Nether, he ran wide into, I can't think of what corner number it is, but he ran wide into one of the corners, which invited Burko to get up on the outside of him and make that move.
So we see line match 57.3 for him. Not bad. On the last lap, Burko obviously set a 57.9 and 56.7, so that would have been good enough for pole position. Obviously he was helped as well though by some slipstreams down the straights. So it will be interesting, though, how he handles this clear air. He's got 5.9 seconds, 6 seconds to his teammate. So the way the lap times have been, barring mistake, he won't close that down. But if he sets times like that, he'll certainly edge away from Nether now, who's looking like he's starting to struggle just a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully Nether can sort of just calm it down. It might just be a case of his tyres getting a little hot, so if he can just sort of calm it down for the next couple of laps, he might be able to get that position back by just sort of tailgating him for a bit.
Yeah, it looks like the last couple of corners looks like he started to sort of put it together. Obviously, it helps having a little bit of a slipstream as well. They've edged away from Turmo, and I think Turmo's going to have to, watch his mirrors more than obviously watch the back of the super cheap Auto 55 Ford Falcon, because Tilbrook is quite quick and he's starting to close on Turbo behind as Burko very, very wide in the exit of turn 12, and that's going to encourage Nether to make a move. Thought about it, but decided against it. It was a long way back to try and attempt a move. He's going to try and set it up, I'd imagine, for turn 1.
Yeah, he wants to get a good exit here to just get his top speed heading into turn 1.
Yeah, I think Burko's had that better, that final left-hander there, the penultimate corner, turn 15. I think he had a slightly better exit and a slightly better line through there, which has enabled him to hold on.
56.2 Nether just done.
That's just the slipstream. That is just the slipstream, I reckon. Obviously, the track is starting to rubber up now. Obviously, it was light in qualifying. And in the warm-up, they were doing laps as well, obviously. And now in the race with all of them doing lap times, the track is starting to come to them a bit. And obviously, they know the track well now. As Burko struggled at turn 3, and it stuffed him up for turn 4. But he's got turn 5 right as Nether gets all kinds of sideways. And harms his chances of setting up a move into turn number 8. And runs wide there at turn 6.
He's trying hard. He doesn't want to lose the back of Burko.
He's having a crack, but I think he's just trying a little too hard. Needs to just rein it in and just get a little bit smoother. That said, though, he's closed up quite a bit under brakes there. And that slipstream is going to help him.
Burko just got a little bit too much curve there, which unsettled the car, so just a little bit more in Nether's favour there.
Now through 11 and 12, Burko a little bit wide there. Nether's thinking more of the exit, but he's got that better exit, but he's a little bit too far back. Once again, I don't think he's going to make it. Doesn't try the move into 13, but as Burko wide. If he just keeps getting it right, though, at turn 12, he might not get it done in 13, but you can certainly set up a move into turn 1. That said, though, Burko wide. Nether's thinking about it. He's going to send it in turn 15. Burko's going to hold on around the outside. And Nether now going to have to think of another way. Get a good run out of the final corner, maybe. A little bit of slipstream. And maybe get it done into 1 or into turn 3.
So I wonder when Burko starts thinking of just moving across the track here just to break the slipstream, because coming closer to the end of the race here, Nether's going to probably get a little bit more desperate here for second place.
I'm surprised we haven't seen that just yet, but obviously being supercars, you don't really think of trying to break the toe like we see in F3 and like we've seen in other AMSOZ series where slipstream is a little bit more prevalent, or we've gone to tracks like Monza where slipstream is vitally important there. But it might be something, as you said, that you might want to think of doing, because obviously with 5 laps to go, in a couple laps time, I'd imagine these little half looks are going to start turning into a full-blown move.
Nether's just lost a little bit just in this first half of the lap, but he's brought it back a bit.
It looks like he's that turn 9 braking zone. He is so much more confident than Burko. Saw it last lap, where he'd drop away a little bit through that first sector, and then he just brings it all back under braking in that one corner. Well, with Burko's wide, Nether's also wide. They both would have picked up track cuts, but Nether's going to keep his foot in it. They both kept their foot in it. And he's going to get the job done, but the problem is now, well, maybe not. I was going to say, now he's got to deal with punching a hole in the air. He's going to try and hold on around the outside. Burko not giving the position up easily. They're going to go side by side once again through turn 14. Burko holds on.
He shows it up there.
Has a look again at turn 15. Burko gives him the space. He's compromised his exit just a little bit, which will help Nether with that wider turning point as Burko once again a little bit sideways out of the final corner. And that will now allow Nether to obviously move within striking distance to make a move into turn 1. He's having a look and he's going to send it this time. Will he pull it up? He does. Burko gives him the space, but Nether also giving the space, sort of compromise him a little bit, and they're going to go side by side now into turn 3.
Termo's just coming in here. He's very close to these guys too now.
And once again, side by side, Nether is going to hold on for now. Burko is going to have the inside to turn 4, and they're going to go side by side into turn 5. So half a lap, a quarter, a sector of a lap, a third, and they're going to go side by side, and they're still side by side through turn 5, and again now into turn number 6. It's almost like a formation finish, and they're side by side again. But Nether finally gets in front, and Burko is going to have to make another move or just defend from
I think
Turbo.
Nether just mustered himself into there then.
But Nether a bit wide there, broke himself, and now Burko's going to have a decent run into turn 11. And yeah, once again, side by side, but Burko backing out of it, not close enough. And now, Turbo almost losing the back end there, but he still had a decent exit, a better exit than Burko somehow. He's having a look, but decides against it. So Turbo, it looks like he's just going to bide his time until the end. And all this battling has allowed Tilbrook to close the gap from what would have been, I think it was around 6 seconds, to now it is, as you can see, 2.1 seconds separating second place from 5th.
So that was one of the best 3/4 of the lap I've seen in the Supercar, just with them going side by side for that.
Yeah, and there was no contact either. No contact, respectful racing, hard racing, and fair racing. So fantastic to see.
Yeah, so that looked like that cost them 3 seconds going off by their lap times.
Cost them quite a bit. See, Lime Mitch is 7.9 seconds out in front. Burko just showing his nose a little bit, but not close enough to make a move. As both Nether and Burko a little bit sideways on the exit of turn 3. Burko, a lot of curb on the inside. Turbo, a lot of curb on the outside. In fact, clipping the sausage curb. And Burko, nice run through turn 5. We don't really see too many passing moves into turn 6, so smartly decided to back out of it. It's too quick a corner to really get a move done in there. And a big lockup for Nether. He's wide. That's going to cost him 2 positions. His Turbo should get by, and he does. But I don't think he's out of it yet.
No.
With the way this race has gone.
He'd be kicking himself there because he was driving awesome to get to where he was.
Yeah, I reckon he's just driving in his mirrors just a little bit too much there. So he gets another slide on out of turn 12. And now Turbo, he's close enough. He's having a look. Burko doesn't defend. Now, can Turbo pull it up? No, he can't. Burko's going to get him on the switchback. And in fact, Nether might even have a look as well, but decides against it. Turbo carried too much speed in the mid-corner. And Nether is now back on the podium. Turbo not giving it up, but then backing out of it, and now he's got Tilbrook right beside him. He's going to go around the outside of the penultimate corner, have the inside to the final corner, and Tilbrook says, thank you very much. And I think the big winner out of all that is Burko, I reckon, because he's pulled a little bit of a gap over the car behind him now.
So I think the start of this lap, Turbo was at the front of this pack, and now he's at the back of it.
Yeah, so all that patience and hard work to get him into second place, and he undid it in one corner, it has to be said.
Mm.
So he'll be a bit annoyed. But that said, there's still a couple, 2-3 laps to go here. As Tilbrook very, very sideways. The exit of turn 3. I wonder if he was in first gear there as opposed to perhaps second, because it was a very odd looking slide. But I reckon probably the next run here into turn number 9 or 8, I can't remember which number, is going to be vital for Nether. He's going to have to close that gap up like he's done all race. If he doesn't, I reckon Burko might just sort of hold station here. Gap was 1 second at the first split. We'll see what it is, obviously, when they approach the second split just prior to the next corner here at turn 10. Half a second, so he's halved the gap, so he's still in the game. In fact, he'd probably be in slipstream range too.
And he made that all up. I think it's turn 10 on the brakes where he's been supreme all night. He made it up all there.
And just behind him, Tilbrook, a mistake out of turn 12, and Turmo gets the job done, but once again outbrakes himself at turn 13, and Tilbrook says, "Thanks, mate, I'll take that back."
Just Turmo hasn't seemed to come to grips with these cars so far. He's normally pretty fast in the out, but even last round he wasn't all there.
Yeah, just struggling just a little bit. I think we'll see as the season goes on, he'll probably pick up his game just a little bit, but first couple of rounds, it just hasn't seemed like his normal self. That said though, still an outside chance of a podium here as Tilbrook runs a little bit wide at turn 1, and that's going to allow Turmo to have that better run through 2 and that long run to turn 3.
Shows the nose there, but
a little bit of a lock-up though for Tilbrook. He's sort of all over the place there. It was sideways last time around there, was Tilbrook, and this time, again, he's sort of all over the shop. An unconventional line at turn 5. He's going to run wide there, and Turmo, if he's smart, will just bide his time until turn 9, and he should be able to get at least attempt to move down into turn 8 or 9 down there. He's very, very close here. He shows his nose, but doesn't send it.
Just as you're seeing that, Nether's just cut the gap down by 0.3 again, so he's close to the back of him now.
It was half a second now, 0.3 of a second. Nothing between these guys. In fact, on that last few laps, they've actually closed the gap. Obviously, it was 7.9 seconds earlier on in the race. Line Mitch probably just taking it easy, but the gap is now 6.6 seconds. In the background, though, Turmo having a look at Tilbrook and forced Tilbrook to sort of cover a little bit, and then again, just having that secondary sort of look there. So cat and mouse between Turmo and Tilbrook. But no change of position. So Burko's had a decent final sector because once again he's edged away from Nether. And the best passing opportunity into turn 1 and into turn 3, they're not quite close enough. As Burko, in fact, sets his personal best of the race.
Yeah, well, sets it when he needs to set it. So, just see what this last lap brings now.
Yeah, the final lap of the opening race. No DNFs, which is good to see. And some decent racing going down as well. For now, looks like Tilbrook is just edged away from Turmo. But with the race, or with the way the race has been going, it wouldn't surprise me if there's another twist in that tail. Same with the battle for second. But it looks like Burko got the advantage. Well, it's track position, obviously he does have the advantage, but now that is running out of places to obviously close down and then to make a move.
Yeah, just to throw a bit of trouble here, they're coming up to Glenn Miles here, so considering his pace, they might get him towards the end of the lap here, so Nether, if he can play his cards right, he might be able to make a move while they're passing Glenn.
And just saw in the background, Silbrook just struggling a little bit through turn 8 and 9. It's allowed Turmo just to sort of close in a little bit. But just see how he goes through 11 and 12. Looks like he goes okay. So Tilbrook, barring mistakes, should hold on there. But Nether has closed up at 11 and 12, and as Glenn Miles gets out of the way as he goes off the track. Nether has one more opportunity, and that's into the penultimate corner. Burko's got in the middle of the road there at turn number 14. And Nether's going for it. Burko sort of defended it. It was very, very sketchy. But Burko, barring mistake, he has a little bit of a slide, but holds on. Lion Mitch will take the win.
Done well.
His teammate Burko will come from 5th on the grid to take 2nd in the race. So HRT continue their dominance. Netherrealm couldn't quite hold on and then retake 2nd position in the end. But again, fantastic drive and fantastic racing between himself and Burko throughout this one. Tilbrook obviously dropped a couple spots from his front row start, but can be quite proud of finishing P4 and not too far away from 2nd place there. Just a couple little mistakes costing him a better result. Same goes with Termo. Obviously dropped a spot in the race as he qualified in 4th place. Got up as high as 2nd for all of 2 corners, but uncharacteristic mistake throwing it all the way there.
Yeah, Termo will be kicking himself there. He probably had the pace for 2nd there, but just a little few too many mistakes. But you can't complain with 4th.
Yeah, solid result, but could have been better. And that's the story, really, of everybody bar Burko and Mitch, it has to be said. You got Wayne, who showed some decent, very decent pace, in fact, speed in practice. Didn't set a qualifying lap. 57.3 is nothing to scoff at in Super 2, but that error early on, pretty much where he is right there, at exit of turn 6, costing him any chance of a decent result, which dropped him to the back of the field. Still P6 after all that, not too bad. Mike Coulston, bit of a lonely one, and looking at his car, it looks like he's banged the wall at some point during the race, perhaps post-race, but he'll take home P7. Steve Bolger in P8, he was actually behind that battle. He was sitting in P6, so something happened to him in the back end of the race that we unfortunately missed, or for him, fortunately. Cracker doing a decent job considering he jumped in with no practice, finishing in 9th. Wayne Whitmore finishing in 10th. And then Glenn Miles finishing in the final spot down in 11th place. Alright, Rossi, well, that's race 1 done and dusted. Who would be, obviously, your driver of race 1 there?
Hard one to say without saying Lion Mitch because he just drove away with it. But probably going out of the 4 that we saw. I think you could go easy with Steve Becker. We just sort of, he had the punches thrown there from Nether and even Termo and just sort of come out on top there to get 2nd. So I probably put him at the top for me.
Yeah, Berko did a fine job. Obviously had pressure from, well, a number of drivers in behind, but also did a good job retaking positions when he had to. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty solid choice, Steve Berko, driver of race 1 there. But just to run through, obviously, the top 3 once again, if you missed it. Obviously, Lime Mitch continuing, obviously, his hot form in Super 2. Continuing his winning streak. He's got a hat-trick now, 3 in a row. And behind him, his teammate, once again, I think, also taking a hat-trick of 2nd places as well. And then we have Netherrealmian finishing a solid 3rd place in the end. But he'll be a little bit disappointed with what could have been a nice solid 2nd there. Anyway, we'll take a short break as we set the grid for race 2. And obviously grab another drink because it was a pretty action-packed race. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes' time. See you then. Alrighty, and welcome back. Got about 3.5 minutes or so left in the warm-up session. It's just a bit of conjuncture about whether we tick it over to the race or not. Obviously, Cracker wasn't able to do any practice for race 1 there due to some technical issues that he was having. So I've sort of allowed it to keep going the full length, even though we are running just a little bit late, just to give him and a couple other guys just a little bit of extra time for a bit of practice.
Looks like he wants to move on.
Indeed.
Oh, we'll make it official. So the good old reverse race for this one.
Yep. Good old reverse grid race, which has brought about a lot of carnage in the past, and it's also brought about some really good racing and some unexpected results as well. So hopefully we get some of the unexpected results going around. It certainly would be a great plus, and a different winner would certainly be fantastic.
Now, I did mention it before about the Brenton Foley Award.
Yep.
But I'll be putting my hat in for Limich to be in the top 4 by the end of the first lap.
Yeah, his odds are probably at even dollar, it has to be said. So he wouldn't get anything back going by, obviously, his previous form. I don't think that's going to be beaten. Formation lap should have started by now. The time has run out. But
2 seconds.
Well, 2 seconds, there you go. My bad. But away we go. And I thought Limich was he disappeared from the server there because he wasn't moving. Well, the camera wasn't moving. That's just because, well, he wasn't moving. But anyway. As you can see, Glenn Miles finished last in the reverse grid race, so that means he will start race 2 from the pole position, and joining him on the front row for Erebus Motorsport is Wayne Whitmore. Cracker finishing, obviously, 3rd last, so that means he will finish from 3rd in this one, as he that might even be a bit of a track cut, as which you can get. Just to remind people out that you can get track cuts in the on the formation lap, as it looks like we've got a little bit of lag going on at the moment. So hopefully that sorts itself out. Steve Bolger, obviously he was travelling along okay in race 1, but an error with a few laps to go that we didn't see, so he dropped him out of contention for that sort of final spot on the podium, or at least a chance for it anyway, because he was about 4 seconds behind that group, and then ended up down a few spots and well down. So he'll start this one from 4th place. Mike Coulston will start from 5th in the 23 Red Racing Rocket. Then we have Wayne in the, I think that's the 2016 Monster Falcon, or Super Monster Racing. And then we have Turmo, the VIP Pet Foods car, starting from 7th. Blake Tilbrook, or DJR Team Penske with the old Xbox livery, will start. P8, Netherrealmian in P9. And then Steve Burko and Limich rounding out the reverse grid for race 2. Once again, 1-2, just like they were in Adelaide in races 1 and 2. And, well, probably odds-on favourite to do it again, although I think it will be a little bit more difficult this time around, with a number of drivers being equal to Steve Burko in that first race there, Rossi.
Yes, so hopefully they can make a race of it for this one, and at least hold up by Mitch for a little bit before he pulls away, because we do have the likes of Nether, Turmo, Blake Tilbrook and Steve Burke all on the same pace, so hopefully they can just sort of hold him in his trails. before he gets past him.
Also, Wayne was pretty quick in practice, and Bolger wasn't too far away from those guys in the race as well. So I think Wayne could be a little bit of a dark horse as Glenn Miles finally lines up correctly. Anyway, lights are on. 5 lights. And away we go. Looks like Bolger's got a good start, but he's been forced into the wall by Whitmore. And that's going to unfortunately drop him to the back of the field. He won't be too happy with Steve Bolger with that one, as half the guys and Glenn Miles running wide at turn 1, forgetting, you've got a break for turn 1. And Wayne now into the lead, up 5 spots. I did say just before the start to look out for him. And a little bit more contact between Whitmore and Turmo there. And again, as Turmo gives Tilbrook a last of the late breakers into turn 3 there. But he's lost all those positions that he could have gained. And he's now behind the 2 HRT cars. As Turmo looks like he gets a little bit of whack in the background as well. Whitmore and Lime Mitch side by side. Burko still ahead. Well, he's ahead of his teammate. So second and third already for the HRT duo, as looks like Whitmore might have been turned around there from Tilbrook, and Whitmore now to the back of the field. We'll just catch that on the replay there and see what had happened between those two. So action-packed start already in the reverse grid race, no patience shown at all, and a little bit of biff and barge already. So Whitmore gave HRT a bit of a shove, and then on the exit, because he was going slowly, Tilbrook really, I think it was just one of those things where momentum carried him into the back of Whitmore, but Whitmore probably wouldn't be too happy about it regardless.
Yeah, so looks like Lime Mitch now he's just making the move for second place here, so he's done well with his teammate Steve Burko.
Burko, I don't know what he's doing. He's just not driving hard enough here. Looks like he's the Fabian Coulthard or Valtteri Bottas at the moment. So I think, I can't remember who the old radio guy at HRT was, but I think he's got on the radio. Steve, it's James. It's time to move over because Lime Mitch is behind you. If he really wants to light up this championship, he should probably just forget to brake for turn 1 here and just wipe out Mitch. Yeah, but fantastic start from Wayne, and even though obviously he got away, he's still got to contend with Lime Mitch and Burko, but he's done a good job so far. Still 2 seconds in front of those guys despite their massive pace. They've got a bit of a gap to Netherrealm, and he's finally picked his way through the field. And Mike Coulston has had a steady start and looks like he's avoided most of the contact, but obviously he's been held up a little bit as Turmo now gets by him for P5.
Looks like Steve Burko was taking a little bit of our advice here and just sending it, because he put in a move into the turn 3 complex and didn't pull it off, but he at least had a go at it.
Yeah, just cutting back to it. Yeah, had a bit of a dive there, having a bit of a crack, which is good to see. These guys have closed the gap right up to Wayne, who was 1.6 seconds at the first split, but I reckon Wayne may have made a mistake because that looks a bit closer. Having a look at that now. And again, it might just be pace. But at the moment, Burko sticking with Lime Mitch. Might even be a little bit of a replay of sort of race 1 as opposed to race 2 of Adelaide, where Burko stuck with Lime Mitch for the majority of the race, but couldn't quite get it done. They're both very, very wide on the grass, and both of them never in the background having a little bit of a squiggle on the exit of turn 12 as well. Lime Mitch thinking about a defense. Burko didn't really think of making a move. He's had, I was going to say he had a good run through turn 13 and closed that gap up, but that slide costing him dearly because he would have been right on his teammate's bumper there. Both closing in on Wayne in front, and I think Nether's probably closing up on these guys as they're sort of struggling their way through this lap here.
It's not evident on the racetrack at the moment, but it looks like Steve might be, while he's not faster than Burko, but he's looking a little bit more racier at the moment.
Yeah, they've both got track cuts on that last lap from running wide at turn 12, because neither of them have lap times next to their name as they cross the start-finish line there. So that's something to look out for. I don't believe we've seen a track cut penalty just yet in race 1. But it is easy to pick them up here, even though it has been made a little bit easier on the drivers. But Burko wide there in the exit of turn 4. But, Mitch getting it sideways through turn 5. So they're having, one has an error in one corner, and then the next corner, the other one makes an error, keeping it close.
Yeah, Lime's just pinched the brakes there, so ran a little bit wide.
Yeah. I think the slipstream is also helping Burko as well. We saw it in race 1, where the car behind was almost like a little bit of an advantage, and we saw Nether set that 56.2 as Lime Mitch wide at turn 8 and 9 there, and that's going to allow Burko to close in once again. They're still edging closer to Wayne, but I think that gap between them has actually grown now with that mistake from Lime Mitch. Yeah, 1.8 seconds, so they've lost half a second. And now Burko having a little bit of a look as Lime Mitch getting it sideways, almost looked like he might have is going to end up Timo glocking it on the inside there, but able to save it, and Burko keeping a watchful eye and waiting for another mistake to pounce on.
They're going to have to be careful because it looks like Nether's closing in slowly. So hopefully if they keep this going, the top 4 will be in for one almighty battle.
Yeah, I reckon we are here, because Wayne's doing a really solid job at the moment. These 2 HRT cars continuing to duke it out, and as you said, Nether, I think, is closing the gap. It was at about 2.2 seconds last lap as they go across the finish line. Fastest lap of the race, 57.0. Obviously, the track not as rubbered up this time. Gap actually remains at 2.2 seconds, but I think again, I reckon Lime Mitch got another track cut there, because as he crossed the line, we were following him, and it didn't give us a lap time, so that's something to look out for.
I think going off memory when setting the server, it may have been 4, maybe 5. So if that's 2, he's probably only got 3 attempts left.
Well, when he's wide and next to turn 5, Burko helped. Well, Burko also a little bit wide, which cost him a little bit of it. Well, it cost him certainly a chance to make a move into turn 6. But this is music to Wayne Spencer out in front to his ears, because he's able to sort of maintain this 1.5 second to 2 second gap. The HRT crew sort of close it in, then they battle or make a mistake, and they get balloons back out to 2 seconds. And now the gap between himself and Lime Mitch, 1.9 seconds once again. He'll be hoping that these guys just sort of all come together and all start battling.
Yeah, well, Nether then just he outbroke himself and ran wide into that 10th corner there, and went into the grass. So his gap there just sort of fell out a little bit.
I've got just realised, looking at the timing, thought, well, we might as well look at some other battles, and Termo and Tilbrook look like they're having a cracking battle as Tilbrook outbrakes himself, pinches a brake, and allows Termo to get by. So he'll be a bit annoyed that we've missed him all race, and then we've cut to him, and he's outbroke himself. But still, almost within slipstream range of Termo in front. And with the way the race 1 has been going, they should catch Mike Coulston. But that will be another opportunity for Tilbrook to catch up to Termo when Termo catches the back of Mike Coulston.
Burko just got a massive slide coming out of turn 2, caught it, but lost a couple of tenths there.
And with that, obviously last lap, both of the Holden Racing Team cars closed a massive gap up between themselves and Wayne. It's now not much. Yeah, it looked like Burko clipped a bit of the grass on the inside of turn 2 there, and that sent his rear wheel spinning. But that gap between Lime Mitch and Wayne now, absolutely nothing. So Mitch has finally got his act together. Doesn't have to worry about Burko, who's made a couple little errors. And now he's got his sights firmly set on Wayne, who now will be looking at his mirrors. He's made a slight mistake, a little bit of slide on the exit of turn 9. Or turn 9 there. But Lime Mitch himself not having a particularly good exit. Means it's
just understeered there.
Yeah, status quo for now. He's taking a lot of curb at turn 11. Wayne a lot of curb on the exit, which would have compromised himself because he had a little bit of a slide there. Mitch could make a move, decides against it.
Oh.
And the way Wayne's driving certainly just slams it into the corners, just massive turn, at least for turn 13 anyway. Hasn't had an ideal run through 14. Line Mitch just biding his time. I think he's just waiting for a mistake, but he's got to look out because his teammate's not too far away and he's just riding the bumper.
Got his nose there.
Yeah, it was a little bit of contact, a little bit of bump drafting through a corner, which, especially a corner like that, I don't advise, but he's done it anyway. Trying to feign a move, 56.6, fastest lap of the race. But Wayne just very, very good on the straight there, able to hold on. And this front three now starting to really compress.
So, Steve Burko's made up a bit of time that he lost at the start of the lap. He does look the race.
Oh, he's deep on the brakes. I thought he was going to spear into the back of his teammate for a second, but he made up a lot of time with that. His teammate Line Mitch, is being very, very conservative behind Wayne here. There is still, obviously a fair distance, 6 laps to go, but I reckon he's shown Wayne just a little bit too much respect. There's probably a couple of places where he could have had a move or attempted a move, but he's decided against it. There's contact on the exit of turn 6 as they both get a little bit sideways. So they're playing a dangerous game here, these two, and I reckon if they keep doing this, it's only a matter of time before one or both of them end up going around.
Yeah, they're playing a very tough game here of tit for tat. So with 6 laps to go, I think they're pretty much setting their ways pace-wise now. So they're all going to be fairly close. Come the end. It's just
look out. Wayne didn't have a good run through 11. It compromised, obviously, Wayne and Mitch. I reckon, just look out for Burko here. I thought he was going to have a better run off turn 11. Turn 12. But wasn't able to use that momentum as Wayne runs wide. It compromises Mitch a little bit. And Burko, I thought he was going to have the run on his teammate there as well. But he got that slide on at turn 13 on the exit. And that cost him a chance. But that's Wayne down to third. Mitch up to first, and Burko now up into P2, but he's very, very close to his teammate coming out of the final corner.
He did get the better run there, so he'd want to keep in the slipstream. Now moving across the road a little bit.
Oh, a little bit of a serve there between teammates has forced Line Mitch to go a little bit wide there at turn 1. He's had a decent exit as Burko. He's having a look. He's been better under braking here at turn 3, and this time he's going to try. He's going to do the move. Now, can he pull it up? Yes, he can. So Burko now into the lead. He's been superior to his teammate there all race 2 long. And now into the lead, but he's punching a nice big hole for his teammate to drive in. And it's good to see Wayne not dropping off the back of this queue as well. And Nether, that gap was 3.9 seconds about a lap and a half ago. It's now 2.7 between himself and first place.
Yeah, so Nether might have a sniff podium. Burko's...
Oh, it's very, very close. I think there's contact there between the two of them. Have to have a look at that on replay, but I reckon there might have been a bit of contact on the exit there. So Burko had a bit of a slide, ran wide at turn number 6. That allowed Mitch to get very, very close into turn number 8. Once again, Burko not very good through turn number 8. And yeah, a little bit of contact between the two teammates on the exit as we cut live. This battling is allowing Nether into play, so it will be a 4-car battle probably in the next half a lap or so, the way it's going.
Yeah, they're all just sort of tripping over each other here, so if Nether can play his cards right, he might have the nifty and the top spot here.
But yeah, Burko holding on. Was 2.1 seconds between first and fourth. Over the line, 2.2 seconds. So, once again, Wayne doing a good job holding on there in third place. Burko doing a solid job at the moment, but you just feel he always seems to be like that one little mistake away from dropping a spot. As he makes a little one there, he's got to cut those out because he's got some pace. But that mistake at turn 3 compromised his run at turn 4. And around the outside goes Line Mitch, but he's overcommitted, had to get out of it, and now Burko back into the lead, at least for now. Now, well, all these four are all together again, and Mitch around, done the old switcheroo, and now back into the lead. As I think Wayne just grazed the barrier there, and I think Nether did as well as line Mitch wide, but Burko, again, he had to get out of the throttle, or he just lost it. It's just a comedy of errors at the moment. So much of a comedy of errors, my voice is breaking.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody for all 8 laps will.
Well, it was a big. I don't know. I think there was contact there. I'll just cut back to a replay and right on board with Burko because Mitch did have a little bit of wiggle. Yeah, a little bit of a serve. Unfortunate. And Line Mitch has still somehow retained the lead. He would have definitely picked up a track out if that's the case. But Nether now having a look at Spencer gets the job done. And in fact, we'll have a look at the replay and see how that took place as we were having a look at replay. So side by side were Burko and Spencer and Wayne going through turn 12, which is not advised. And they went 3 wide. Jesus, 3 wide. Burko held on around the outside somehow. They didn't all end up just spinning and having a massive accident. But good racing. Nether held on up the inside. And Wayne now, unfortunately for him, out of a podium spot, which has to be said he's deserved. And Turmo out of nowhere, 56.4, fastest lap of the weekend.
Yeah, where's he pulled that one from? He's not like he's got a speed, a draft following him, so...
Well, it looks like he's just finally got into the rhythm of the circuit. Obviously the track now being rubbered up, and maybe he's made some roll bar changes as the race has gone on. But Burko not letting his teammate get away. And if these guys battle hard enough, perhaps a little half spin for all of them, we might even see Turmo close up to the back of these guys. But
long shot at the way they're going.
Yeah, 7 seconds. It is a long way, and there's only 3-4 laps to go. It's very, very unlikely, but we have seen a bit of contact between these guys at last lap and a half, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
So the 3 and Burko, Nether and Wayne, they've all pulled up their pace to match Lime Mitch here because he isn't pulling away. They actually pulled the gap down after Lime Mitch's little shortcut excursion.
Well, perhaps in that first race, it's just those opening couple laps where they were just a little bit off the pace while Mitch was just immediately on it for the entire, obviously, race. Because we did see in race 1, fastest lap was by Nether, and Burko did have a fastest lap on the lap previous to that one. So they did have that pace in them. It's just that I think early on when they were sort of sorting themselves out or a little bit not sure of the car or whatever, they just lost all that time. Obviously they were battling as well. So in this one, it's got Wayne off in the background. Looks like he's outbroke himself at turn number 15. So we'll just cut to a replay of that. Still comfortably in 4th place, but he's got to look out because Turmo is coming, as we saw, fastest lap of the weekend. Just on the previous lap.
Now we have missed a few things. Turmo's just spun around at the second last corner.
And that's allowed Tilbrook and Coulston to get by.
And Steve Bolger and Whitmore have DNF'd at some time.
And Turmo just doing the exact same thing that that Wayne did, and then trying to come back onto the track on the grass, gassed it up and spun it around. And almost collected Coulston and almost collected Tilbrook as well. So unfortunate for Turmo because he had pace, but just outbroke himself there. So back at the front, looks like I reckon Mitch has broken the back here of Steve Burko. That gap has sprung out to 1.1 seconds. We did just cut to a little mistake from Burko, and again he's outbroke himself. He's out overdriving it now. He's trying to find time under braking in places where all you're going to do is lose time, and now he's going to lose position. And Nether now up into P2 just. Burko's going to try and get him on the switchback. Using a lot of curb, a little bit of a slide for Nether when he has had a decent exit. He will have a bit of a tow, will Burko. But not close enough to make a move. It looks like they're coming around to Glenn Miles as well, and despite that battling actually, Nether's actually closed up to Lime Mitch somehow, so perhaps a mistake from Lime Mitch that we didn't quite pick up on, but Nether, he could even pinch a race win here if he keeps this up.
Just watching like Mitch then, he didn't make a mistake from what I could pick up, so it's just they're a little bit faster than him in this race.
I think it's the slipstream. I reckon these cars around this track, I reckon it's a like an F3 car, as we see like Mitch. So we did see in the last race that Burko should have been doing the old trying to break the toe. Like Mitch perhaps listening to us. Obviously he's doing it now, and Nether didn't follow him, which is pretty weird.
No, that's something that Nether probably could have done, but he could have lost a little bit of space, time moving around too. So
Very
making it up in his braking zones.
Yeah, very good under braking there at turn 3. Burko also closing in as well. That's something to stick away in that note section of your brain, because if Nether gets close enough in the next lap and a half, he's got the braking skill to be able to pull it up and make a move stick.
Well, we saw how desperate he was in the second last corner in the last lap last race, so there's no doubt he's going to throw it up there for a win.
Well, definitely it's for a race win. He hasn't won. He hasn't won in TCR. Hasn't won in Super 2. So right in front of him is an opportunity to take his first win here at Automobilista Australia. And got to say, he's a real chance. Is very, very close. We sort of had to back out of it for turn 12, but Limage very sideways on the exit once again, trying to imitate Timo Glock. Nether's got the run. Mitch goes defensive, and both of them sort of backing out of going defensive and sort of making a move.
Steve Burko had to throw it at there.
Yeah, Burko having a look as well. So once that penultimate, that quick right-hander, now they made up a chunk of time. He's just got to get a decent run now out of the final couple corners. She does. Burko wide in behind them. Not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 1, but if he just puts enough pressure on Lion Mitch, he might force him to outbrake himself and then set up a move for a passing opportunity into turn 3.
Yeah, well, he's just got to think a couple of corners ahead here to just pull off the move.
He's had a decent run, stayed quite close through turns 1 and 2. He's close enough to make a move, shows his nose, but no, he's going to sort of send it, but didn't want to fully commit to a very late braking manoeuvre, just trying to set the move up. But Burko having a little look up the inside and a little bit of contact between the two. We've had Coulston retire. Big slide for Nether at turn 5. That's allowed sort of Mitch to get away a little bit and Burko to close in once again. But this race at the front certainly not over yet. These front 3 could all change in the next half a lap.
Yeah, well, this is where Nether's at his best here at this braking zone. So
he's having a look. He's going to send it up the inside. Can he pull it up? He can, but he's left Mitch. He's left Mitch too much room. Maybe a little bit of slight nudging on the exit there. But he's had a good run down the straight, and Mitch going defensive, and that's sort of put Nether off a little bit. Burko in the wall behind him. Mitch is a little bit wide, but Nether not going to be quite close enough. I don't know why they all went to the inside there, on the inside of turn 11, but that's something I guess we can ask them after the race. But there's only one more opportunity. That's the penultimate corner. If Nether wants to nick a win here and break the Lion Mitch stranglehold. Mitch goes defensive, and there's contact between the two. Around goes Mitch, and Nether looks like he's going to wait and redress the position. But Burko will take the win. It will break the duct of the, obviously, Lion Mitch victories. But still, HRT have won every race. In fact, first and second in every race. Lion Mitch will finish in second place there. Doesn't look too happy with that one. Netherrealmian, third place. Wayne, a very solid fourth. And Termo's got ahead of Tillybrook. He was behind him after his little run at the penultimate corner off the circuit. Tillybrook will finish in P6. And Cracker, a fair way behind in P7. Miles, a lap down. He will finish in P8 when he crosses the finish line. But gotta say, in both these races, absolutely cracking racing, Rossi.
Well, definitely it opened up for the battles. It was good to see the 3 and 4 car battles. Probably not the way we wanted the race to end for the second race, but good for the first 98% of the race.
Yeah, obviously not ideal, but I think now that obviously saw an opportunity for a race win. Obviously, Lime Mitch knew a move was coming and just stayed to the inside. I think Nether got caught in two minds as to whether to go to the outside or middle of the track and try and get a switch back. And by the time he sort of made a decision, he'd outbroken himself. In fact, we'll have a look on replay. We're right on board. If I can bring up the right screen. So we're right on board with him here. Yeah, so he's perhaps even had a little bit of a slide, but as you can see there, he's just Mitch immediately stays to the left. Now he's going to the middle and then moves to the left a little bit. Contact between the two. Now there's just he's got out of the throttle, waiting for Mitch to get ahead of him and just redress the position. So a little bit frustrating, obviously, for both drivers. Obviously, cost Lime Mitch a win. Nether was close to a win, couldn't quite take it in the end. But still, fantastic racing all race long between those guys. Obviously, for the first half, sort of Nether was a bit behind. But with the battling between, obviously, Burko, Mitch and Wayne there, just some great racing in the end. And has to be said, with half a lap to go, probably an unlikely victor.
Yeah, I mean, he was in that all race. He probably had the pace over most of them, so you can't blame him for, not take that win away from him, because he probably definitely deserved that win.
Certainly did. Well, we've got a number of drivers that we could obviously rip up, but we'll cut. Obviously, only got Nether in here at the moment. I will drag the others up shortly. So Nether, obviously a solid first race, but I think the only things we can ask you really is about that second race. Obviously, the first half you sort of had to pick your way through in the reverse grid format, and you're fair ways off the front three, but with their battling, you're able to get back into it and then set up a fantastic finale there. Talk us through it.
Well, if I'm honest with you right now, I feel a little bit sick in the stomach, and that's just not because my heart skipped a beat God knows how many times in those last 5 laps. More about what happened right at the very end of it, where came into contact at the second to last corner. I knew that it was either going to have to be a dive down the inside, or I was going to have to come back across to the racing line and try and set something up out of that corner. Mitch did the right thing, covered the line. I just moved too late. So that's fairly and squarely on me. I feel like I take the blame for that one. I probably just should have realised it was going to cover, and I'd probably run out of opportunities. Just those last 5 laps, it was just absolutely insane, and it all started from the minute we went 3 wide down to the bottom end of the circuit, and I somehow managed to pull it off. But for most of the night, with all the passing and side-by-side actions been going on, fair dinkum, absolutely top-notch and top-draw level racing for everybody tonight, with all the passing very, very clean and great racing all night long.
It certainly looked like a lot of fun. I think it was race 1, I do believe it was you and Steve there, were side-by-side for, literally the first sector of the circuit, and there was no contact. So, some fantastic racing there, and then I think what we saw on the stream with that that last move there, it sort of looked like you got caught in two minds, where you were like, do I go to the outside or stay to the middle or go to the left? But was that how it worked for you? Obviously, you did sort of touch on it, but were you just caught in two minds, and then obviously the braking zone come up a bit quicker than what you thought, and you went into the back of him there?
Yeah, it pretty much caught in both minds, knowing that probably the last opportunity was to lunge up the inside at 15, and that the line you have to wait till you sort of get around that turn 14 before you really start to see where your opponent starts to position the car. And it probably got positioned a little bit later than what I thought it was going to do, but by then I was almost prepared to send it up the inside and just didn't get an opportunity to move back across to avoid the contact. Earlier in that lap, as we were coming down to the Sector 2 split, I had a run on Mitch on the outside, coming out of that chicane and around the back section of the circuit. But I was actually caught wide, and I realised that Steve was going to get up my inside if I didn't get sort of back into line. So I just eased the throttle a little bit to fall back into line to stop being headed off at the pass there. And then from there on, I knew I either had to have a good exit out of that next chicane, which I didn't do too well, or I had to have a dive up the inside at the corner, and I missed my opportunity on both occasions. So, like I said, it's fairly and squarely on me, that contact. It's just pure and simple, did not make the move at the right time, just left it too late.
Yeah, obviously unfortunate, but obviously you did the gentlemanly thing, and obviously you got out of the throttle and sort of redressed the position in a way, which obviously frustrating. Obviously that you know for you that you made the contact and didn't have that opportunity to obviously steal a win right at the end there, and obviously frustrating for Lime Mitch obviously being in first and being taken out for a race win, but. I think overall you've got to be quite pleased with obviously tonight's outcomes in both races where you've ended up obviously in third place and then with your third again where you were battling for a legitimate race win there.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably one of very few occasions where I'll probably be battling for a race win. Happy with 2 podiums, follows on from last week. And I got the fastest lap in the first race as well, which came as a bit of a surprise as well, which is not the fastest lap all night, but in terms of qualifying and that, but it was something I was definitely surprised about. And in that second race too, as I was closing up on the lead group of 3 cars, there was an occasion where Lime Mitch had shot across the grass at the chicane and rejoined, and I wasn't quite sure whether there was contact or something had happened there or who was ahead, but I had that in the back of my mind as well, thinking, you know what, is there going to be something after the race? Is there not? And just had to put it out of your mind and go, well, you can't bank on there not being some action taken or being action taken. You just got to do it on the track. But yeah, happy with the night's work right up until that last little bit. But you've got to take the good with the bad sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, you gave yourself every opportunity. Didn't quite come off this evening, but hopefully for us and obviously for you, you get another opportunity further along down the road in Super 2.
Let's hope so. Thanks, mate.
Right, well, we'll cut to, obviously, our Race 2 winner. Finally, someone breaking the Lime Mitch domination of the season, but still, HRT 1-2 in every race so far. Steve, obviously, we'll just go back to the first race there. Obviously, ended up finishing second once again, but the second half of that race, even though you were battling with Nether, those first few laps, it did seem that Lime Mitch had a massive pace advantage over you guys. Were you guys just a little bit less confident in your cars, or what was the go with you guys losing so much time early on there in race 1?
Yeah, Lime Mitch broke away from the field pretty quickly, and I would dare say as soon as I got into second, and probably a couple of the other drivers as well, we sort of started to have a little bit of doubt and stuff coming into corners, checking up a little bit too much, braking a little bit later. We were sort of racing the car behind us, so that was the problem. Yeah.
Well, once that sort of sorted itself out, though, the second half of that first race, obviously you and Nether having an absolute ding-dong battle, as Murray Walker would say. And I'll just ask you to sort of talk us through, obviously, that first sector there where you're side-by-side without any contact there.
Yeah, going through the first couple of corners, I think I was on the left side of Nether. He was on the inside for most of the corners. But, we just continued our racecraft, gave each other enough room to get around, and, it was one hell of a battle, I can tell you that, through the first sector.
Yeah, and, I guess for us, it's really pleasing that, no contact, both of you guys leaving space for each other and, passes around the outside, take-backs in the next corner. It's fantastic. And obviously able to hold on in the end there in race 1, taking second. And then obviously that second race there, again, fantastic racing between yourself this time, Lime Mitch, able to stick with him, and Wayne as well. And then obviously Nether as well. So four guys once again, all battling it out. Would you talk us through that moment where obviously you were 3 wide there going into turn 13, because being on the outside for a moment it looked like, we didn't see it live but we saw it on the replay, were you a bit worried there that you get all 3 of you are going to end up getting wiped out there, especially you being on the outside being the most vulnerable?
I was a little bit worried coming through those corners, and Yeah, going 3 wide. Of course, I was looking mostly towards the inside and going, please let's just make sure we get through there okay. Just worry about the next corner. But we did feel, I reckon, most of the drivers, credit to all the other drivers, I think we all felt a lot more comfortable in that second race.
Yeah, so that first lap there was sort of a couple incidents, but I think all of them really that we did see that they're sort of just accidental sort of contacts kind of thing, and even then the contact at the end between Nether and Lime Mitch, again probably chalked up as a racing incident. So yeah, some really really good racing, and in the end, even though you did hold the lead for a little while and you were in front of Lime Mitch for a little while. It just seemed like those little mistakes just started to creep in. Were you just overdriving it a little bit, or was it just a case of, just hard racing and someone had a little bit of slipstream to help them get by?
It was definitely hard racing. I mean, there was no two ways about it. There's 4 or 5 of us at that front, and everybody's pushing for position and getting in the slipstream, so there was always going to be some sort of bumping. I think I made contact with Lime Mitch through turn 13, which is why he probably may have been sent off, but I tried my best to readdress it, and yeah, ended up bringing a whole lot of company into the battle as well. So
You certainly did. Well, congratulations on obviously your race 2 victory and second there in race 1 there.
thank you very much.
All right. Well, we've got Wayne with us. Obviously, Wayne, the first race didn't exactly go to plan. Obviously, you qualified. Well, you didn't set a decent lap in qualifying, and it sort of summed up obviously your first half in the evening. But race 2 there, you're able to get yourself into the lead pretty quick and avoided the contact, and then you did a really good job in the first half of holding on to the lead there.
Yeah, lucky again to get through the start. I think qualifying's not my thing, obviously, but yeah, I felt more comfortable in that second one. I certainly felt like I drove within myself for the first half, but then just pressure got to me, I guess. I've just made too many stupid mistakes, and yeah, it took me a little while. Once they got away from me, I just sort of gave up on chasing and just sort of started driving a bit better again. But I didn't feel very comfortable all night, really. I had good pace in practice, and I'd been doing a bit of practice at home before the event and thought that I was pretty good, felt pretty good. And then that continued, like I said, into that practice. But then, qualifying, I think new track, no tyre grip, and I just pushed too hard. And then the first race felt terrible. Second race, certainly better when I was driving good.
Yeah, certainly see that first half. I think there's plenty of positives for you to obviously take out of this weekend. In practice, obviously you're up there. I think you were second fastest going off the top of my head, but you're certainly within that top bracket of drivers. Obviously, as you said, couldn't quite do it in qualifying, but then that first half of obviously race 2 there, it's certainly something I think that you could take probably for the rest of the season going forward.
Yeah, that gave me a bit more confidence, and for a while there, I was keeping an eye on the times every lap, and they weren't really catching me. And at times when I did a good lap, I was pulling away. So I think I had the speed, but I probably just need to do more practice on a track that's not rubbered up and get used to that a bit more. And then I think, hopefully I just keep getting better.
Well, a mixed bag for you this evening, but certainly some promising signs. So good luck for the rest of the season, Wayne, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium in the near future.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be nice to get up on the podium at least and win one eventually.
Hopefully. All right, Ross. All right, Rossi. Well, it was touched on earlier. That reverse grid race. Well, we could even include race 1 as well. But your Bretton Foley Award. Who would you give that to this evening?
Judging it's always based on basically your first lap. You'd have to definitely give it to Lime Mitch, but Steve Burko went with him too. But pretty much Lime Mitch got the Brendan Foley Award for making up the most positions on lap 1.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the most positions. It could just be putting yourself in that race-winning position. So, obviously, Burko had a fantastic opening lap. Obviously, Lime Mitch did get him at the end, or towards the end of that first lap. But I think Wayne, you could flip a coin between Wayne and sort of Lime Mitch. So I can't really give one either way, because obviously Wayne did what he had to do and avoided all the contact. Obviously, didn't have as many cars in front of him, but got himself into the lead and built a very big lead in that first half a lap, and then obviously had obviously Burko and eventually Lime Mitch in behind him. So line ball on that one. Haven't got a coin on me, so I can't decide. So I think we'll call that a tie. I think I'll go with Wayne and you'll go with Lime Mitch on this one.
Yeah, just judging by being Brenton Foley's teammate, I know how frustrating it is for somebody to come from the back of the grid and then just almost get it for you.
Yeah, so going forward, obviously in TCR, I don't think Foley can make every round, obviously with the race night being moved to Tuesdays, but obviously these guys, I think Foley and if you're racing with Lime Mitch in these reverse grid races, just give them on the first lap, just give them a nudge out of the way, and just make sure that they don't take it every time. All right, well, that just about does it here at Automobilista Australia. Obviously, round 2 here at Albert Park for the Super 2 Series with obviously myself, Lewis Wedding, and Brendan Ross in the commentary box. Coming up at Automobilista Australia, can't remember too much exactly, unfortunately, about what is going on coming up, so just bear with me for a moment.
I can probably help you with that one there, Lewis.
That would be greatly appreciated.
So we got TCR happening next Tuesday, I believe, is the 3rd of March, is the first of the TCR series. Sydney Motorsport Park is the venue.
Yep.
And then coming up a week after that, we've actually got 2 nights of racing. So 10th of March is the start of GT3 World Series. And in that same week, we're actually back here on the Thursday night, the 12th of March, for the Melbourne Twin Sprint for the Supercars Championship.
Yep, and also we've got Track Day Cup as well next Monday too, I believe, Rossi.
Yeah, well, that starts up at Ibarra. We get a pack to release, but that's there. And then coming on the Wednesday that same week is TCAC at Silverstone.
Yeah, so those racing at Ibarra, I'm just trying to. That is the one that you can flip into the stands, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being our first race there in the Rookie Cup, a driver was sent into the crowd.
But that was Luke Joyner, I think, was the one that. I think it was Luke and someone else ended up flipping over the fence, but Luke ended up into the crowd. So, guys, if obviously I don't think it'll be streamed, but if it does happen, please save a replay and send it to me, and we'll get it up on social media and get it out there. So please, if you're having a bad run, just flip it into the stands down there at turn 1 and 2. But anyway, thanks for joining us this evening, and you'll catch us in 2 weeks' time from Brian Walsh Raceway. See you there.